Okay, I promised her that I would give her question and you, if that's okay. But we got to make it super quick because these guys got a long drive home.
Some months back, the Bellingham Herald had a full page taken out by the majority of the medical community in Bellingham and signed individually by those people. And it stated that they were against the coal trains because of the negative impact it would have on the health of the community. Now, I think I heard you say a couple of times that if, you know, whatever entity has rights, it also has the responsibility. So if a lot of people, the coal trains go through, and these are going to be like, what, 15 to 20 times a day coal trains are going to go through. People don't realize that often. But if a lot of people get cancer from the coal dust that's released, and the company, the railroad, or the coal miners, or whoever is profiting from this, comes in and says, we'll pay all your medical bills, and if you die, we'll give your family a settlement. Does that, do you think that that equates? If you have the right, but you're willing to take care of the responsibility, you should be allowed to do whatever you want?
No, because you're imposing a cost on me, right? You're not giving me a choice of how I do that. You're saying, I'm going to give you cancer, but I'm going to pay. Well, that's not your choice, right? It's not your choice to impose that on me.
That's what we're saying.
Absolutely. And what I'm saying is that they should pay that cost. I've said that from the very beginning. What I'm saying is that this approach doesn't solve that problem. It doesn't help that. And let me just give you another example. Let me just give you one more bit of evidence. The question is, what is the impact? Okay? So you're assuming that all of this is going to cause cancer. We don't have to guess, right? We don't have to guess. We can look. There is a place in Washington State where this is already happening. It's Centralia. So Centralia is the only coal plant in the state. It was built on the side of a coal mine. That coal mine shut down several years ago. Since that time, they have been taking trains of coal to Centralia to fuel the coal plant. So my question is, where are the cancers that you're seeing? In fact, if you look at Lewis County and you look at the incidence of cancer in Lewis County, it is actually lower than all of the neighboring counties. Okay? So there's two issues. One is there an impact? Okay? And if there is, you should be able to point to it because we have a similar example. And the second is, if there is, then I totally agree with you. They should pay for it and prevent that. And not in a way that, as you say, rightly, impose cancer on somebody and say, sorry, but I'll pay you. That's absolutely wrong. They should pay for the impact.
Interesting that you bring up Centralia. Here's, to me, the biggest paradox of this entire coal. In Centralia is the TransAlta power plant. It's Washington State's last coal-fired power plant. We as a state, the governor signed a law to make coal-free Washington and planned the closure of the last coal-fired power plant in the state. Oregon has done the same thing. We've realized the medical effects. We have realized as a state that this is stupid. This is a stupid technology whose time has come. It made us great. Absolutely. This town was based on coal. Where my office is above a coal mine on Northwest Avenue. At a certain time, certain things have to stop because they're not good anymore. We turned off. We're turning off this last power plant, burning coal, and now we're going to ship it so it can be burned somewhere else. It's from my perspective, that's pretty paradoxically insane.
So why do you think that their cancer rates are lower than all the surrounding counties if it's causing health problems?
I don't know the data.
Yeah. Because the data, I was in Olympia while they had this debate, and it was a debate without any statistics, without any evidence. It's revealing the things that they did talk about. They didn't talk about local effects, right? They did. People on the other side said it was going to put people out of work, and it will. But the conversation was about the climate, right? Which isn't, I think, a recognition that there were no actual local health effects, right, from any of these things. Todd's right, and this is, you can make fun of the idea of sitting down reasonably and looking for data and honestly trying to find answers rather than feeling your way along, right? Just doing what feels right. But I'm always going to take the former approach. I mean, maybe if coal causes these problems, we should find ways to prevent it. I can tell you one of the reasons why we don't do that as much anymore is because of, paradoxically, because of all the environmental regulation. It used to be that these problems were solved through the common law, through litigation and common law courts that said, look, you're imposing fires because you don't have spark arresters on your train engines. We're going to impose that cost on you. You have to put on spark arresters. There used to be this common law of nuisance that was, before they even talked about externalities, was all evolving to require people to internalize more and more of these externalities. The environmental regulators came along and said, we don't like that. We want to simply impose our will, freeze frame right now, whatever we feel like. And they basically have cut off that strand of the common law that provided the best way to deal with most of these externality problems.
Okay.
The tragedy.
Like 1 minute, because we only have time for like 2 more questions, I'm sorry.
We've just heard some incorrect history. The nuisance laws, the concepts of nuisance were gutted by the companies that were committing the nuisances in order to be able to continue to commit the nuisances. And then we had to, that's the reason we had to adopt all the environmental laws.
They were common law, they weren't statutory laws.
No, of course. Yeah. Right.
It's rather hard to gut the common law.
We have time
No,
for,
it's the fact that if you keep arguing in court with your corporate lawyers, you will eventually get to the result that the concept of law no longer has any force, which is what happened to this.
and we're gonna do 2 more questions, because I know Todd and Trent have a long drive home. Here and here, because you've had your hand up for a while, and I'm sorry about that. And you haven't asked a question yet, so 2 more questions, and then we're gonna wrap it up. And I just want to mention, if you guys want copies of this debate emailed to you, or you want to sign up for a mailing list to know about future events, I know we're going to be doing another coal debate, and I'm sure that we'll be doing something like this in the fall. So we'll do 2 more questions and then